Bellycisers! Here we are for some belly dancer abs. We're going to begin with just a 10-minute one, so it's easy to add to any other workout you might be doing, or just to do it several times a week to get some nice toned abs going. We're going to begin by looking at the pelvic floor combined with the belly pull-in. So if you just begin sitting, nice pelvic tuck, and just focusing on your belly button and just squeezing it in and release gently. Don't do a full release so it tilts the pelvis. Check your side posture. So you just pull in, pull in, pull in, pull in. Okay, my darling, so we'll do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now add the pelvic floor. So draw up that pelvic floor, just squeezing it all up, squeezing it all up, squeezing it all up. Automatically your abs start coming in, but you notice a difference already in the hips, without pelvic floor or with pelvic floor. You see how it all tightens and straightens this lower back? Really good if you have posture issues there. Okay, so now pulling up that pelvic floor really, 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 really strongly, like you desperately don't want to wee. Squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it all together. And now do some belly pumps, pulling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You see how this doesn't move here? It's just here. So especially if you have an issue with your pulling and moving your pelvis, pulling up your pelvic floor really, really tightly, not only will it really get to those deep abdominal muscles, but also it will really protect your posture. If you're still having problems, stand against a wall. So you've got nice and straight back, and we'll all do that. Just imagine if you're not next to a wall, and then pull up the pelvic floor so your back is really lined against the wall, and then just do your abs, pulling abs and pelvic floor, abs and pelvic floor, abs and pelvic floor. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Lovely, and it's really nice for your back. That's a good little workout for your thighs if you want to continue against the wall. But for now, let's just get this pelvic tuck. Pull up that pelvic floor, and again, do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pulling up that pelvic floor, pulling it up. So you're squeezing both the muscles together, you're pulling up your pelvic floor muscles, and at the same time you're bringing your belly button in. So you're squeezing them up like you want them to meet together in the centre, squeezing it all up, squeezing it up. My little toes are gripping the floor like this, squeezing it up, squeezing it up, squeezing it up, squeezing it up. Lovely, now do breathe. So we're going to add that joint contraction of the pelvic floor and the abs through everything else that we're going to do. And we're going to begin with a nice bit of chest, get to our upper abs. So get your pelvic tuck, and again it's absolutely fine to stand against the wall so your back is completely flat, straight. Hands on the front of hips, and we're going to squeeze up the rib cage, and then you're going to squeeze your pelvic floor and belly button at the same time to pull it down. Crunch them in. Push the chest up, crunch it in. Push the chest up, crunch it in. Now if you can, while I'm talking and while you're scrunching everything up and in, it's crunching it all in, try and check that your shoulders are staying straight, that you're not pinning forward or back. Okay, so check your side posture again, do it against the wall if necessary. Get your pelvic tuck, pull up that pelvic floor, keep that pelvic floor pulled up permanently, squeeze the abs in, and then chest goes up, crunch, up, crunch, up, crunch, up, crunch. Really squeeze that pelvic floor, belly button together at the same time, and crunch, and crunch, and crunch, and crunch, and crunch, and crunch. And remember to breathe. Good. So keep that little pelvic tuck, and now we're going to push up, crunch it all in, 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 shake it loose, bottom half. Let's just do our pelvic tuck. So we're going to start with our pelvis tucked. What we're going to do is try And by drawing everything in up so far, we want our hips to slightly tilt up. It will vary according to your muscles how much that pelvis lifts, but if I just put my arms straight forward so you can see, so you get the belly button is always slightly held in tension. Pull your pelvic floor up really, really strongly, grip it all in, and then just squeeze even harder. Squeeze. It's a tiny, tiny movement, and you know very well the tinier the movement, the more grueling. So squeeze it in, squeeze it in. Never completely relax, you're just squeezing a little bit harder. So it's tense, even more tense, tense, even more tense. Keep that pelvic floor really squeezed up. Squeeze it, and don't forget to breathe. Squeeze it, pelvic floor, pelvic floor, pelvic floor. There you go, you'll get it in there in your minds. Squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it. And notice how this spine hardly moves. Everything's happening at the front. This is where all the muscles that we're working, and the back is staying nice and comfortable, especially if you're really engaging that pelvic floor. Man, I'm hot. Let's shake it out. Good. So we're going to challenge our sense of core and the separation of the upper to the lower by adding some little twists. Now, a twist, just pushing one hip forward and then the other. Feet are flat to the floor, and this one. Always a slight softness in the knees. So it's just a twist, 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 twist. But what we're going to do is really engage our pelvic floor and our abs, keep them squeezed in, and what you're going to try and do is not move anything from the chest line upwards. So have your arms out and check that they're not moving. Squeeze, 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 pulling up the pelvic floor, pulling in the belly button, and twist, 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 twist. Keep everything really tight, pulled in. Twist, 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 twist. Nothing moving on the top. If it is, just try and stay near a wall so you don't, if you keep whacking it with your hands, you've got to try and maintain it. I hope that pelvic floor is being pulled up right now. Squeeze, 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 tight, tight, tight. Pull the belly button in even harder. Twist, 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 squeeze, 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 squeeze. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Small, 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 small. Really small, tight little thing. So little small movements in the hips. As we go faster, trying to stay quite calm on the top, really crunch up that pelvic floor so hard, and keep the belly button pulled in as well. Squeeze, 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 tight, 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 tight. Nothing up above the waistline is allowed to move, or above the chest. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Keep the pelvic floor. Then we're going to start walking. Now, soft knees. This is going to be feet flat to the floor. There's no high thing. We're going to be really flat to the floor. Pelvic tuck. Squeeze up that pelvic floor. Squeeze in the belly button. Everything is strong and tight. And we're just going to take little squeezy, twisty steps, crunching everything in. So it's really making the waist and the central core really working hard. You're not using your arms to get a bit of swing. That's all got to stay still. It's only happening waist below. Really gripping the floor with my toe as we come forward. Squeeze up that pelvic floor. Have I mentioned the pelvic floor yet? Squeezing it all in and shake it loose. Good. So we're now going to do a little balance challenge. So hand on the wall if you need to. I shall demonstrate on this side to begin. So we're going to bring our knee up, going to keep it bent, and get that pelvic tuck, pull up the pelvic floor, squeeze the belly button in, and we're going to not move this at all, just keep that there, and you're just going to squeeze, squeeze. So use the pelvic floor and the belly button together, squeeze, 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 and squeeze. Okay, just keep that, maintain that. So you've got the full weight of the leg, and you're really having to contract, pelvic floor and belly button, pelvic floor and belly button, pelvic floor and belly button. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. You can extend the leg, squeeze, 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 but the leg, it's just passive. All the effort is here. Squeeze. Don't forget the pelvic floor. Crunch, crunch. Oh. Shake that out. I am really starting to sweat. And do the other side. If you're comfortable, you don't have to touch the wall, but I really just want you to feel the focus is all in the abs. So you raise that knee, get a pelvic tuck, pelvic floor muscles up and tight, belly button in. It's tight the whole time. You don't fully release, and then you just squeeze it in, squeeze it in, squeeze it in, squeeze it in, squeeze it in. Keep squeezing it in, squeezing it in, squeezing it in. Contract muscles and stomach, belly button, pelvic floor, belly button, pelvic floor, all together now, all together now. Your pelvic floor must be so zipped up, you're going to be challenged to have a wee later. And then you can extend the leg if you want. Crunch and squeeze, crunch and squeeze. I might hold on to the wall. Crunch and squeeze, crunch and squeeze. Pelvic floor, belly button, pelvic floor, belly button, pelvic floor, belly button. Oh, that's a good one to do. So that's just a little 10-minute abs workout. Shake it all out, shake it all out. Really good for making you posturally aware, sorting that lower back out. Add to any workout that you wish, and more videos will be on their way.